Dominators to this training session on now that you've got.
Am I moving?
She's getting ready for her prom.
Stop! Why is my dad videotaping me? What? Why did you say am I moving? I'm sure I'm waiting.
Y'all dressed?
Oh my god, my dad keeps on bringing out video camera.
Not with my clown eyes. Gosh.
But, God. Okay, I'm gonna show you my boobs.
Well, show them.
She did your hair good, like the curls that we both. Did you get it done or did you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did like it. You really did?
With my clown eyelashes.
I'm kidding.
Look at my eyelashes.
Oh, good.
No, they don't.
No, she's so weird. She just wants people to say that.
No, I don't like that. What happened?
What's that?
What?
What are these? Are these like that? Supposed to be?
Oh, Italy?
Did you stop it? Yeah, I think
Oh, okay.
I thought that ripped.
No, I thought they were.
I did that.
And your dad's like recording all of it.
Oh, you look so pretty.
I like you guys, yeah.
What she's doing?
Regular.
Oh,
old
cute.
shoes.
What were you
Or like-
complaining about your nails?
Where the heck's the hook on this over here?
How did y'all put it
I
on?
know, it's the most complicated thing in the world to put on.
Well, how are you gonna get it off?
She's
Oh, wait. Wait, that's the wrong
trying it
one.
off.
You want me to do it? I did it the other day.
Okay, well, I got it on
Well,
the
you have it
You do it, wait, put it on the wrong hook.
Oh, it's supposed to cross.
Oh my god, yeah, you
supposed
did
to
it completely wrong. Sorry.
And it's raining. I'm gonna have to hold my dress like
I
this.
know, I feel so bad it's raining right now for
Here,
y'all.
these $20 old shoes.
That's so pretty.
I like that. Oh, uh-oh.
What?
No, we're gonna have to. Emily, go get some of that tape.
Can you see my underwear?
Yeah, because it's gapping and I don't want to see that.
No.
We got some fashion tape.
Well, I don't have a butt, so that's probably why.
No, well, we're gonna put just a pinch here so you don't see that.
Good, 'cause that's not
Hey, Lizzie.
What's
I
this?
don't know. This didn't happen earlier.
No, it looks really pretty.
Whatever. You're listening.
I know you.
Look beautiful, Olivia.
It's like a blonde one.
Emmy, go get that fashion tape.
Oh, that's so good.
Go get.
No, it's good.
Emily,
What is this
go
called?
get. Oh, I gotta cut those off.
Yeah,
Are you cutting them? Then
Where's
cut
this
this one
one?
too.
Unless, well, you know what?
Those are my socks
She can fly away.
Actually,
What shoes are you wearing?
why don't you just keep those in?
Cute
Keep
shoes.
those because those will help.
Ooh.
I'm kidding. I know.
I was like,
Shereen, did you drive over here?
Yes,
You
with
did.
my car and my license.
It feels looser.
the fashion tape is.
Oh, come on, Emily.
I
We'll find it.
Why is it sticking out like this?
Here, hold on, Lizzie. Hold on, come here. Huh?
Oh, are you feeling better? Annie told me you used to have strep.
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
Did you take? You need to take your pill before you leave. Now, if you get all bumpy,
Lizzie?
you need to come in here and pull this lining a little bit.
Hello.
It straightens it out. Okay.
Let's kick our way in here.
I don't know.
Oh,
Get
God.
out.
Let's
Going
kick,
this way.
let's kick our way in here.
I don't know where the fashion tape is. Hey, this is on movies.
We're going into
My Disasterville.
Hello. Are you wearing like a big old black look?
Yeah,
Wait, where's the child?
that'd be cute. Wear heels with it, because I'll dress it up like a lot. Fine.
Do you not like that thing?
Hello? No, I do. Hello?
Research time.
I'm trying to get my stuff together. We're
Where'd
almost
she
on our way.
Hi.
I know, we're gonna
Hello.
chill out. Bye.
Who was that?
My retarded best friend. Is that Allie?
The other retard best friend.
Oh, that one. Olivia? The really retarded girl.
Savannah.
The main retarded one. Just kidding.
Is your date in this picture?
She's hiding.
Oh God. Oh, definitely not.
Wait, who are these people?
Wait.
Is this like bringing back like inside jokes that you can't say right now?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Douchebags.
You can tell me later. I just want to know what your date looks like.
I'll
What
show
are you
you his
wearing
face.
afterwards,
though.
Lizzie?
I'll show you in a second.
I don't know.
Do you want me to stay here until you leave? Oh What
God.
are you gonna wear? Oh my God! Hold on, let me put this up.
Here's how I take a picture of your panties on the ground.
I've already got all that.
Your mom's actually taking a picture of it.
I don't know why it won't take pictures. What the heck? You know what? You didn't put it on the right hooks, idiotness. Here, hold on. There's one hook.
Stop! Let me see. Yeah, because it felt like a lot tighter like 2 days ago.
What is this? It's like.
Well, try like
Is
smoothing
that
it
better?
down. Like,
Yeah,
don't
a
pull
lot
it
better.
out. Because if you keep pulling it, it'll stay.
I need to move this thing.
There. That feels a lot better.
Okay. Alrighty.
Stupid.
Oh, you look like a little Barbie.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Randy, are you narrating?
Well, I'm just letting y'all talk.
You wanna take another one?
We need to go outside and take some.
It's raining. No.
Get one.
Oh. Nice. Mom, take another one.
I don't care about Lizzie.
Think skinny, Mom. Think skinny. Here, hold on, make y'all's face one. Oh my God. Okay, stop. Good.
Are you sure? Sometimes they have hooks like right here.
I'll just be holding it. Okay.
Oh, I'm falling back. Ooh, Lizzie, you better be careful because you're trip.
Okay. Oh. All right.
Wait, let me see if I got a good picture.
Where y'all going?
We're going to Savannah's. Take
Savannah's?
her up. She's by herself.
Hurry, I'm getting wet! I'm getting wet! I can't open it. No! I can't open it. Go! Just get it. Oh my God, my heel went down there! Wait, I'll get your stupid. Hold on. I'll get your umbrella.
Then don't forget to lock your doors. Be careful.
Hey, buckle up. Buckle up. We'll see you there. There's a lot of people here. Who's got the silver truck?
Silver four-door Dodge pickup. Says D Champs on it. Is that Musselman's? He already left? Well, we think we can get him through there.
Bye. Go get it.
Stand over here with your flower.
So does he have a measuring tape in his eyes? He's visualizing the
Okay, here,
I'm not taking a picture of myself. I don't want to.
Dad, this is Touch.
How you doing?
My dad.
How you doing, Chuck? Nice to meet you.
Let me just take one real quick. Okay. If I know how to do it. Right by the golf cart. Oh. I don't even know.
Just stand there, Joe. Whoa, whoa. Just stand there. Just stand there. That's that prom look right there.
Get your hair.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a beautiful. Oh, that's really funny with the wind blowing. It looks like my Thank you very much. I'm gonna get a chill. It's far. Hold on. Where's your car, baby? It's all the way down there. It's in the.
All right, I'm about to move. I got keys.
Wait till you
Got
stop.
keys. Here you go.
Let's see if you were in. You were
Let's just leave that stuff there.
He needs both sides of the road there before he tries to get down here.
I'd call whoever works for that. Hey, who's black truck? Who's black truck?
Who's black truck?
Refusing to drive down here because of this black truck right here.
Now he wants the black truck moved.
Black truck.
Pull up in the driveway and turn around.
Hey, because you talking to your hubby. Yeah.
Time to drive.
I get that stupid thing done.
Don't want to put that bus in four-wheel drive.
Shannon's here? Shannon's here, right? I guess.
No, I'm just here.
Yeah, just hanging around.
Take a picture of everybody else. Here we go.
Oh, hey.
How you doing? Tell him. That's a. Man, fantastic. Fantastic.
It's alright. It's a good look. It's not looking at me, but it's
Where
still,
is your name? Okay.
Is it right or not right?
Bring it over here.
check it out.
I'm sorry. Wow.
I think we need a hacksaw. Yeah.
A hot tub. I don't see a hot tub.
No hot tubs? Yeah, they'll have a blast. Haley, come on! You're holding us up.
I'll text you.
I don't know. Somewhere.
Thank you. I don't know where mine was put.
Chad, where's Megan's umbrella?
Hey! Hey! Dad, That's okay.
Let me help you.
Oh, pick a mine.
Got it?
No, we're fine. Are you sure?
I wanted to get a picture of them and all of them in front of.
I'm holding it up, Olivia. Why are you doing that?
No, it's doing good on me.
That's a good idea. $15.
All right. Woohoo, they're all in the bus. Yes,
all
yes.
gone.
Hey, we're not driving them.
Thank you. 6:30.
Now he doesn't have any excuse about long limbs because he doesn't have that big air
That's
conditioner
right.
on top.
Now that's a smaller. That's the short bus.
We're gonna need to run to get Mitchell's umbrella because
Okay.
he doesn't need it when they get there. They'll be under the awning.
Where is it?
He's in the limo. That limo's gonna have. Oh, they should be able to let him out. Hey Dan. You didn't take me, did you? The limo's right here, so go get it. Karen, let's go here. Yeah.
Get Brady's umbrella.
Can you see how?
You know what, Kim? They have an awning to pull under.
Yeah.
Nice to think that through before she set me out there.
Yeah.
As a process analysis as I'm going through the marsh there.
Like, why am I going to go get this thing?
Yeah. Now hold on. I don't think you need to go get it now.
Man.
1 or 2 or 3 to be that kind of high kind of percentage. But as you get better and better at this, and your confidence gains, and you have success, your closing ratio is going to go up and up and up. So this technique, it really does work, and it worked for me even before I became more of an outgoing person and could talk without being so scared that I could hardly see straight. It worked even before then. So as I gained more confidence and read more books on selling and stuff like that, I obviously improved my skills in that. But this system really does work. So let me do a quick recap here, because there's 4 steps to your process. And they're each kind of pretty simple steps. The first one is your pre-meeting planning process, where you sit down at home, you know what their market niche is, and you know what their website is, and you start doing some research on what are the keywords that you'd be targeting and how much traffic do they get. Where is their site currently at for their main keywords? And most likely it's nowhere to be found. And then do a little site analysis of what does their site look like, and what are some things, like some changes they can make at their site to get better conversion rates, to generate more leads from the traffic coming there. And then you're going to use that for this next step, which is your first meeting with the client. And here you want to kind of use this first meeting to build rapport with them and show them that you're an expert via the analysis that you did and the questions that you're going to ask. So you first talk about what you found for the keywords and where the traffic possibilities there, and where they're currently ranked for those keywords and things like that. Kind of go over what you saw at their site when you checked out their site, and maybe some suggestions on how they could generate more leads from the traffic going there.
And then you go through a series of interview questions to find out where are they currently at. Like how much traffic are they getting, how much of that traffic converts into leads, and what their traffic sources are they using. And the reality is with most of this, they're not going to know much or anything for answers. And what did you say? How did you handle that when you're asking them these questions, they just don't really know the answer?
Yeah, what I do is I try not to shame them in any means. I'll just say, if they don't know the answer, I say, well, most people don't know. I mean, they're new to the web and they don't have a clue. And these are some important questions as we, grow this business for you to start to understand and measure, because they'll really give you a handle as to how well you're doing. And they love that when you don't shame them, but they start to see some new possibilities, because the questions that they often don't know the answers to, they see are self-evident, but they're really great ones to start paying attention to.
And like you kind of acknowledge that, well, their expertise is whatever their service is, and like your expertise is this. And the great thing is that you actually will be tracking those type of things for them. So you'll know exactly if you guys work together, how much traffic they're getting, where it's coming from, conversion rates and things like that. So you're actually bringing quite a bit of value to them. And then the final thing is you present what are some possibilities based on the traffic, the search traffic that's out there that people are searching for related to them, and some of these example conversion rates. So like assuming maybe 5% of the people that come to their site turn into a lead, and then they're going to know what their what percentage of leads they convert into sales, and then what's the value of a customer, how much does a new customer worth to them. And you can do some quick rough analysis and just say that like this is some guidelines, and then you kind of wrap that up and let them know that you're going to take all this information you gathered and do your final analysis and come back with a proposal of what are some possibilities for them. And then that's the next step, which is your second meeting. So you went back, kind of put together this simple one-page proposal, which we're going to be covering in another training, is how to actually put together that simple proposal. And then you said that second meeting you can actually do over the phone. It's not a big, long, involved process. And it's really just to kind of go over, like, here's the things that can be doing for you, what's possible outcome for these, and what does that mean to you as far as new revenue that could be generated for you. And you're really creating like an ROI analysis of what's their rate of return for doing this, correct?
Exactly. And again, you're getting buy-in, because without the price there, they go, yeah, this is what I want, or I was thinking we'd also do this, or I didn't think we needed to do that. And you get all that sorted out before price becomes an issue. So if you get this huge buy-in by going through this process.
And that's a good point. Like in your proposal, there's actually no price. You're just, the purpose of this and how you position it with the client is to get real clear on what you're going to be doing for them, and make sure that it's something like the plan that you're putting together is exactly what they want. And most likely they're going to go along with whatever you say, but having them kind of go over it and agree to it, well, now they feel like they have a sense of ownership over this plan that you've put together, and they're going to buy into it much more. And like you said, if you have a price in there, that's going to be the first thing they look at, and they're going to ignore everything else. They're just going to go straight to the price. And you want them to kind of buy into this plan and see the potential new revenue and profits for them if you do this for them. And then once you leave there, then you're going to go back, do your final analysis, and come back with the proposed plan and what their investment is going to be in it. And you said you always use the word investment and not cost or price or anything like that.
Yeah, because it's like people know the cost of stuff, but they often don't know the value. And in this case, it is an investment. You're investing X number of dollars to get exposure to a lot more folks, which will then bring a return in more sales. And by changing that language from price or cost to investment, it really communicates well to them what they're looking at is different than what everyone else is pitching, which is, hey, I'll do this stuff for you for X number of bucks.
All right, and then at that point, then you just kind of, that's how you end up closing the deal, is now just agree on, you've already agreed on what you're going to be doing for them. Now you're just agreeing on the price and getting started. And then you also have a fifth step in this process, which is once you get started, there's your post follow-up process of things that you do on a regular basis, besides the actual service, but how do you stay in contact and make sure that they're seeing the value that you're delivering?
Yeah, let me step in one more thing before, because I'm sure that something in the middle, in everyone's mind is, okay, so you're at this meeting, you kind of walk through the steps of what the proposal is all about, you've gone through the ROI analysis, you've now gone through everything you've got in front of you. What do you do next? What is it you say? And so what I found is I usually just ask a simple question, like, so what do you think? And I don't know if there's such a thing as the so what do you think close, but I use that a lot. And I find that 99% of the time, or 95% of the time, they say something like, well, when can you start? And I'll say, well, yeah, I can start by Wednesday. And I said, as soon as I get the down payment, and I usually charge 50% down for the first month. As soon as I get the down payment, I'll start. And they say, well, can you wait 10 minutes and I'll get that check cut for you right now? Or is it okay if I send it in the mail? And again, that's the high probability response. Every once in a while, they do what's called an appeal to a higher authority. They'll say, well, I need to talk to my partner. I need to talk to somebody that's not at the meeting. And in general, I found by the time you get to this spot, it's still pretty high probability of a sale. And then every once in a while, they'll say, well, it's much higher than I was thinking. And when that happens, people have kind of a little scarcity mentality, so they have a certain amount in mind that they want to spend. And I never discount the price. What I'll do is say something like, well, how much do you have available to spend right now? And let's just say it's half the price that you're going to do. I would just come back and cut back on what you'd do. I'd cut back on features and say, well, let me take a look at this and see what I can do. But I'll see what I can eliminate, but still keep the highest value stuff in there, and see if I can come back with that. And I don't do it on the spot generally, just because sometimes you can make a mathematical error and end up in a fix. So it's better off just thinking about it offline. But in general, you don't go for the discount. I've done it once or twice in rare circumstances, but I avoid it like the plague because it looks like you're really unfirm in your prices, and so they'll keep working on you as you go down the road with them. So I de-scope the project a bit, take some of the things out of it, and then come back. But again, that's very rare. I'd say less than 10% of the time does that actually happen.
All right, that's great, great information, and a great way to help them make a decision of that. What do you think after you present it? And they're going to tell you what they think, and if they're ready to get started, they'll let you know. Or if they have any questions, they'll let you know, and then you just kind of address those, handle those, and like you said, if you've done all the things up to this point of positioning the value, then they're either going to be ready to go, or they're just not going to be willing to pay whatever you your thing is, because they might not have the ability to pay that, or they're just scared of paying that because of whatever reason, or they just don't think it's possible. So in those cases, it might not be the best client for you, or you can also try the reducing the amount of work that you're going to do in exchange for reducing the price to something that's going to be more in line with their budget.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's most of the time you've now presented something in an investment format, showing an ROI, showing them the possibilities based upon statistics of traffic from Google, which is a recognized authority, and you're already using their language and what their closing ratio is and how many leads you think you can generate, and you're knowing what their average cost per customer. So you're using their information to sell them, and that's why the system works so well. It's all based upon facts, not speculation, because you've got statistics, you've got a Google analysis, you've got all these pieces of information that you've put together over this period of pre-visit analysis and then the questionnaire responses. It really is a powerful combination because you're using so many facts that they 100% agree with to show them the value of it. And one final comment when it comes to collecting the money. If you are doing some sort of monthly continuity basis, ideally you want to get that set up so it's happening automatically, so they can actually, you can invoice them straight through PayPal, through a PayPal account, and just covered that in one of the previous trainings, and have that automatically bill them every month, and they don't even need to have a PayPal account or anything. They can just use their credit card to pay for that, or their debit card for their business bank account. So the sooner you can get it transferred over that, where that's happening automatically, and that way you don't have to be in the collection business of kind of always following up with them to try and collect money. But definitely don't get started until you've collected some money from them, until they've paid something. Yeah, absolutely. I find if they start too early, sometimes they'll change their mind. Not very often, but I've had it happen several times. And, there's nothing more irritating than having done a bunch of work and you're not going to get paid for it. So it's a precaution. Plus, it gets them much more interested in paying quicker. If you start right away, it looks like you'll do things on the cheap kind of thing, and they'll just start taking advantage of them. So train them early to pay on time, and stop working if they don't pay.
And another little tip, when they ask, well, when can you get started? You don't want to say, well, I can get started immediately, because then it seems like you don't have any other things going on. You want to seem like you are in demand, so you always say, well, I can get started in whatever a future date is. Might be several days out or whatever that is. But you don't want to come across as desperate or needy, or you don't have anything else happening, because people want to be associated and do business with other folks that have stuff going on. So just
along that line, I found is that if you, and I always use that same technique as well, if you use that future date, you can always tell the level of interest is, well, can you start any sooner than that? And I usually say, well, let me check. I'll have to check my schedule to see if I can do that or not. But I'm sure I can start next Thursday, but I'll check and I'll let you know if I can start earlier. And again, that's a great sign that you don't need to do a lot of post-purchase assurance with those guys.
So how, now that they want to do this, kind of close the deal, what do you do as far as any official paperwork or anything?
Yeah, so what I do, I do one of two techniques. Well, first of all, half of my consulting gigs I've ever done, out of 120 plus, have just been verbal. I just agree and they agree, and that's it. now that email is so much simpler to use, these things with fax and seemingly more formal, what I do now is I do one of two things. I either get them to sign the bottom of the proposal and, their name and date that they agree to it. And I do that, I'd say 20 to 30% of the time. The rest of the time, I review or recap everything that we agreed upon in that meeting, send it in the email, and at the bottom I say, if you're in agreement with this, just please send it back and say, I agree to this proposal. And they just send it back via email. And either one of those works. The truth of it is, if you go through a real complex legal document, get attorneys involved and stuff like that, it delays everything. And second, if they breach the contract anyhow, you have to spend quite a bit of money trying to remediate that or fix it or sue them. And it really isn't worth the hassle. You're better off just finding another client than trying to sue them for things that they owe you. So I find a simple, well-worded, something in English proposal and or summary email works all the time. And in my early days, I used to have like official 5- and 10-page consulting contracts that were drawn up by attorneys, but they're very expensive to create and provided no extra value in reality because if they're not going to pay, you're just going to have to spend a lot of money trying to get it out of them. So I wouldn't worry about it.
In my experience, I've gone down both routes as well. And like when you have like this big 5-10 page legal contract made out by a lawyer and it has all this attorney speak in there, and you present it to them, well, now they're going to want to have somebody review it, and then it just adds all this complexity to it, and it just kind of muddles up the whole thing. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't mean anything. If they're going to not pay you, then it doesn't matter if there's a contract or not. It's just who they are. And the only recourse you have is to go through like suing them, and now that you're wasting all your time and money doing that. And so the reality is, contract or no contract, they are going to do what they're going to do no matter what. So, but what I have found to be very effective is to kind of clearly spell out what's expected out of everybody. And that's kind of what your one-page proposal does. Like, here's what we're going to be doing, and here's what we agree as far as the price for this. And you just kind of spell out what's, in just plain English terms, what's going on, and then both parties kind of sign off and agree to that. So most everything I do anymore is that type of thing, is just a very simple, everyday English type of thing of what the parties are agreeing to. So it's real kind of clear going into it.
Yeah, so using this approach, the whole thing can happen in one meeting. I've gone in, presented the proposal, and walked out 10, 20 minutes later with a check. Whereas I have never, ever, with a formal legal 3 to 5 page agreement, ever walked out with a check in less than 2 weeks, just because of the added overhead and scheduling a meeting with an attorney to review it and the cost associated with it. It really makes it more complicated. And again, the net result is the same. You're going to get paid or not paid with or without that complex agreement.
Yeah, and I have to throw in the disclaimers here that this is just our own personal opinion and experience, but we're not attorneys or anything like that. So definitely do whatever you feel most comfortable when it comes to the legal side of things.
Yeah, good point. One other thing, you asked me the question, and then I interrupted you with the how to handle the actual close, and that was, I think you were leading up to, is what is it I do after the close in addition to firming up the contract like we just talked about. The other thing I do is I, again, manage expectations. So if you're going along and you say you can start Thursday and you have a personal crisis or something happens on Thursday and you can't actually start till Monday, let them know that, and just let them know early. So just let them be aware of what's going on. No one expects you to have everything perfectly mapped out for the next 20 years of your life or the next 2 months of your life. So things happen, but manage that expectation, and then have regular reports. So email them reports like it's going to be talked about in the reporting section. Email those on a regular basis. And then in addition to that, I find it really valuable to just call them up, touch base with them. So at least once a month, get them on the phone and just chat how things are going and how the leads are going, things like that. And then maybe every 2 or 3 months, take them to lunch and just, review how things are going. And I can't tell you how many times at a lunch or one of those phone calls, they've talked about additional challenges or things going on that has led to further contract work. And either they want some more help with tweaking the website or some other traffic techniques, or they're ready for the next step in an area. And it will just pay big time, because it's 5 times easier to sell someone that you've already sold than it is to sell someone you've never sold anything to. So I've many times taken something that was going to be a 1 or 2 or 3 week assignment and turned it into 5 and 10 year assignments. So just building that relationship and letting them know that you're there, you're a consultant advisor there to help them out. It's just an amazing way of building a long-term relationship. And of course, they'll often, when they tell you something really cool has happened, you can use that as a testimonial and just say, hey, would you mind writing that up, or could I write up what you just said, and you'd be okay with that? Or the other thing I find is, do you have anyone else that might need this same kind of service? And getting referrals from them during those phone calls and lunches is just another great way of building your business.
Yeah, I love the phrase, I'm expanding my business right now and taking on new clients. Is there anybody that you would recommend or could use this? And like you said, those personal contacts are a great time to get referrals from them. So to recap, this final stage is now you transition, you close the deal, and their actual client. Well, you first want to manage their expectations up front, on like when you're going to get started and kind of how things are going to look. And it's going to put them at ease and not cause any upfront conflicts. And then on an ongoing basis, you want to provide them with a monthly report, and we'll have a separate training about this topic of how much traffic they got, where that traffic came from, what keywords are they ranked for and where they're at, and what kind of progress they've made from the months before, and maybe charting those out so they can see the growth that's going on, and some things that you've implemented for them that month, and some other metrics. So that way you are each month giving them hard, concrete evidence of the value that they're getting from this. And then you also have that monthly phone call, so you're personally touching base with them once a month as well. And then that was also a great idea of the quarterly lunch. So at least once every quarter or every couple months, you sit down in person and have lunch with them. So these other ones can all be, like this whole process, the beauty and the greatness of the internet is it can all happen you working from home. So the whole pre-meeting plan, you're doing that at home. The first meeting, ideally you want to sit down with them in person, but if need be, that could be done over the phone. Then that second meeting where you kind of go over your initial proposal, that can be done over the phone or in person. The third meeting where you present the price, again, ideally you want to do that in person it tends to work out better that way. But then once they're a client, well, you don't necessarily need to be meeting all the time. You can handle it all via email or phone calls. But then every once in a while, like you said, every couple months or a quarter, take them out for lunch and let's keep establishing or maintaining that really strong relationship, and could lead to more work that they want to have done or more referrals from them. And
just a good point to remember is 100% of this can actually be done over the phone. If you happen to be in an area that doesn't have any high search traffic words and you're 10 or 50, 100 miles away, you literally can do this over the phone. It's harder. It can be done. I've had a number of clients that I've never met personally that I did the whole thing over the phone and using like GoToWebinar or GoToMeeting or WebEx to show them things online. So it can work just that way as well. And especially interim meetings, if there's certain things that need to happen, I use an online thing like GoToMeeting, and it saves having to do trips and waiting in the lobby for them to meet and all that kind of stuff. It just increases your productivity a lot. So although it's ideal to do what we just described, you literally can do this all over the phone and using something like GoToMeeting.
That's a great point. As I think back right now of all the clients I've had over my 10 or actually 12-year career of doing online marketing for other people, every one of them, I never actually saw them in person until after the fact. One client, we did over $2 million before I actually met him in person. And that's just because he was in Dallas for some event, and we got together for dinner that night and had a steak and celebrating doing several $1 million over like a 2-year period. And literally every client I've had, it all happened via the phone and email that we closed the deal and got started. And in every case, it was usually a year or more went by before we actually met each other. And some clients I've actually never met in person.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, some I've just never met. And so, yeah, don't feel constrained to do the in-person stuff. It's particularly easier to do that way, but certainly no means impossible. And then your story is really great too. Most of them you never met at all until way after the fact.
Yep. All right. Well, this has been a great session going over what to do once you actually get a appointment with somebody who's interested in what you have to offer, and how you go from getting them from interested to highly interested to closing the deal. So I hope people really love this. If you have any questions, please use the question form to submit them, and we'll cover it in our weekly Q&A session. And also just to let you know, we're going to be doing a follow-up training specifically on the proposal aspect of this, on how do you kind of put together that proposal and present it to them. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Dan. Any final words or anything else to add?
Just one more thing, and that is be okay with the fact that you're going to go from feeling uncomfortable with this the first time to feeling more and more comfortable with it. It's a process. It's just like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you might stumble here and there. Don't stop just because you do that once or twice. Just keep going. But with this system, you actually, believe it or not, probably won't stumble at all. It's a great system. Took me years to figure it out. And once I started using it, just never stumbled once after that. And so I think you'll find a lot of good results from it. And the second thing is, be a serious student. Look for ways of improving what we're talking about. Don't just settle with this. But this is a great starting point. And just work on, how to build rapport and read books on sales, and just continue to improve yourself. And as you do that, you'll just have amazing results. And again, you start with this, and you'll start doing really well, and then continue to improve, and you'll just be amazing and have reach all your financial goals and be able to help so many people out, especially today, that desperately need this kind of help.
Yeah, that reminds me, I think back to when I first got started in business, and there's a sales component to it, and I would sit there in my room staring at the phone, deathly afraid to talk to people. But the difference was I was trying to sell people something that they really didn't want. In this case, you're actually providing something to somebody that they desperately want, and that is a huge, dramatic difference. To be offering something to somebody that they want, so So it's really not a sales position there anymore. Sales is all about trying to convince somebody to buy something that they don't have an immediate need for. Here they have immediate need and want for what you have to offer, and it makes it infinitely easier than anything else you may have experienced in the past.
A great point. It's just amazing how the whole status changes when you're selling something that people want like this. Because, again, people want to grow their businesses, or they want to get back to what they were at before Yellow Pages and other things quit working. So they want their stuff and what you can do so much. And they will absolutely give you an audience and give you a chance to make all this stuff happen and be happy to pay that for the results they're looking for.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Dan, and thanks, everybody, for tuning into this training session. Dominators to this training session on, now that you've got a possible Dominators to this training session on, now that you've got a possible prospect who's interested in your service, what's the next steps? How do you go through the actual sales process and get them, present what you have to offer and close the deal? So again, I have on the line Dan Swanson, President of Nitro Marketing, and he's been doing this process for years and years, has closed over 100 deals using this exact process, generating millions of dollars. So we're going to actually walk you through step by step what the process is like once you've generated a lead of somebody who's interested in your services. Dominators to this training session on, now that you've got a
Hey David, what's going on, buddy? Hey David, what's going on, buddy? I redid that for you, put it in another form, so it'd be a lot easier for you. Just go back to that blog, and under that initial audio, there'll be another audio down there, so you can just push it and play, and then I'll do the next one. It takes me a little while to do that, but I'll do the other one here today sometime. All right, man. See you later. Bye.
Dominators to this training session on, now that you've got a possible Welcome everybody to today's bonus training on how to use consultative selling to go out and get clients without having to prospect who's interested in your service. What's the next steps? How do you go through the actual sales process and
in your left-hand navigation bar that says home. And then at the bottom of the page, you've got a link that says, medieval swords. Well, chances are that link at the bottom of the page is being totally ignored, and the only anchor text that you're finding on your homepage from every page on your website is the word home. And so that's where this becomes kind of an issue, because you'd like to be able to use your own internal links to boost your own rankings. And the challenge we found was that even if you followed the home links, which is, what we've been teaching for quite some time now, is used to work. Yeah, it used to work fabulously. I mean, you take your home link, it had rel equal no follow. You take your copyright notice, and I named this the home link solution, right? Is you'd change your copyright notice to be keyword rich and make it a link to your homepage, and boom, you'd always see this big reputation lift for your homepage. Well, now we're finding that maybe that's not working quite as well as we hope, and not actually be working at all in a lot of cases. It's because that's the first link on the page is the one that appears to have priority in at least the majority of cases. So this is like really, really bad, because suddenly again, rel equal no follow is not a fix for something which is very obvious, very easy, really common, something that we really ought to be able to control ourselves. And now suddenly they have silently changed the rules, we think, although I bet you it's a bug. Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no 100% reliable, predictable behavior, except that you only have one link from the first page to the second page. And that's where we started getting into testing things like, well, what if we use redirects? Will they figure out that the redirects are actually the same link? Well, no. In fact, they count them as additional links. If we hide it with JavaScript, that still works. No follow apparently doesn't work. And so, there's kind of this whole range of different solutions, from using different kinds of CSS design solutions so that you can just put an arbitrary link that you've decided to be the first link at the top of your code, to things that are a little bit more elaborate in terms of implementation. But anything that you implement with this is usually sort of a one-time thing if you're talking about links that are part of your template. Okay, and the problem there is it really raises the bar, right? I mean, this is not easy stuff we're talking about here. Well, your cousin that knows all about computers that did your site with Microsoft Front Page, Front Page 98, is probably not going to be able to help you out with this. Yeah, probably not. All right, so on my blog, andyjenkinsblog.com, if you happen to be having a web browser open and you were to go to that blog and take a look at it, now this is something that we have been discussing internally for, I guess, a couple of months, long enough for me to have done it apparently right on my blog. If you take a look at my very top navigation bar, it actually says a link, because these are tabs that appear across the top. It says home of Andy Jenkins, because I want to rank for Andy Jenkins. So in this, and of course, now I've got a lot of other links on that page that point to the home page, but by actually saying home of Andy Jenkins, I am succeeding in passing somewhere else, and potentially with the template removed, although even there we're not totally certain exactly how much of that they're doing, because the first and foremost they're looking for exact duplicates without template removal, the whole damn thing mirrored, right? And then after that, the best of SEO website, and that website essentially.
That's why you need to
Don't
hear
record
Lizzie.
this. Lizzie.
Website from Andy Edmonds' website. That is not that's sort of thin content. It's like I'm a thin affiliate there, and eventually they'll get around to doing that. We're gonna give you some advice on how to deal with that scenario in a way that can also help you with social media and link building. Okay, one more question. Playing the advocate for the everyday person, the person that's out there that just got the website that doesn't have time to learn how to be a Uber geek like y'all do. You you guys keep saying the word template. What's a template? I need to understand, what consists of a template on my site, and how does that affect duplicate content and being penalized, and what can I do about it?
The easiest way is to print out 2 pages from your website, lay them one on top of the other, and hold it up to the light.
Okay, and what's on page 1 and what's on page 2?
Right. Well, it's the stuff that's the same on both pages, right? And so that's the thing. That's how the search engine. And again, these are patents, disclosures that describe how to go about doing this, and the extent to which they're actually using the various claims that are made in those applications is open to some question, frankly. Because it's really hard to measure that kind of stuff. What Dan and I try to do is only tell what we can see evidence of. And for something like this, it's really, really hard to tell to what extent this kind of thing is being used. But certainly, if you're talking about the left-hand nav, the header and footer, and that kind of stuff, all that boilerplate that's served up the same on each of your pages, that's what we're talking about in terms of template.
Okay, so if I have my page, every single page on my website's got my left-hand navigation, it's got my header, it's my footer, that's got my terms of service and all that other stuff. All that other stuff is considered my template, and are we clear or unclear as to whether or not Google discounts the template when it evaluates the entire page in terms of how duplicate the content could be?
Well, we don't see any possible way that they could be doing that in real time, but I suspect that if it's not today, it will at some point become a big part of this sort of garbage collector that they run across the index later on after they've indexed content. And that's where you see sites getting caught up in these duplicate content filters. I mean, I see it over and over again. People that I know have been running content, sites for AdSense or for affiliate or for list building or for whatever else, where they're substantially drawing the bulk of their content from syndicated sources. And their template is different than every other site that's duplicating the same article. But for whatever reason, we see them tripping this same profile over and over again and finding these ranking filters applied.
Right. Okay. So essentially, what that means is that our template, we want to make sure that on every single page of our site, whether it's a category page or product page or about us page or policy page, Dan, you had mentioned something early on where just write one more paragraph of content. We want to make sure that we have more unique content on that page than we have the sum total of content that is contained in our template. Does that make sense? Is that an accurate thing to say?
Well, it's a good rule of thumb, and there's not a bright line that we know of that we can actually measure today about just how much unique you need versus the amount of template. But as a rule of thumb, that would sound like a pretty good place to start.
All right, that's my takeaway. I'm going to put that on a little action item, which is look at how big my template is and how much content I have on a page with the template and without, and always try to make my content on page exceed the content that's contained in my template. So what's all this?
As verbose as you are on your blog, I don't think that'll be. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem.
No problem for me. No. All right. So what about this link profile thing?
Let me mention one more thing about the whole duplicate content article syndication, because we got a couple of questions in advance of this webinar that I wanted to address. And one of them is, how bad is this? For example, if I put an article into e-zine articles and 100 copies get picked up across the web, how many of those are still going to get counted? How many of those are going to end up being links? And from what I can see, sort of empirically by going out and measuring, by using Google Alerts to find all these placements, probably 20 to 30% of the copies are still making it through whatever duplicate content filters that they have at a minimum. So it's not like they're trying to be super heavy-handed about this, because there's a lot of ways to screw it up. One of the things that appears to be some kind of a concept in Google, and I'll just be completely honest here, we don't know how this stuff works when we get to talking about trust, but the concept of trust, and this came out of, we had an incident with a friend of ours who had his site with some problems with what we call proxy hacking with Google, where there were literally hundreds, if not thousands, of duplicate copies of this site's homepage, and the homepage of this site was getting dropped from the Google index as duplicate content. And one of the issues that a couple of the folks there, as we got to kind of a chance to talk about it at events and stuff, that they mentioned was that that particular site wasn't especially trusted because apparently at some point they actually held like the world record for the most reciprocal links ever, which is a record you probably don't want to hold. You probably don't want to be that prominent in something that Google doesn't like. But similarly, we're starting to see not that same effect, but we've seen some cases over the summer where folks were having duplicates of their homepage in particular, but other pages on their site, knock their page out of the rankings and replace their page. So, for example, we had a guy with a site where he was still ranking in the same place, except it wasn't him anymore. It was some proxy, screen scraper farm over in Germany that had copied a bunch of his pages, and in the same place on the rankings, but a different address going to this duplicated page. And as we started to dig into it, the same kind of issues coming up. Lots of duplicate content because they weren't rewriting their product descriptions, and some fairly dodgy link building techniques in terms of joining blog networks and things like that. And there does appear to be some kind of a threshold where you just don't have the trust anymore, and all kinds of weird just bugs and stupid things can happen to you that, I have a hard time kind of calling it a penalty. It's really just a bug. But what it does is it kind of exposes you to the potential, if you're not doing a good job of really building authority, really building links effectively, really creating unique content, and doing all the things that would fit some evident but not quite understood measure of value on the part of the search engine. If you're not if you don't have enough real links of your own to go with, for example, these blog networks and stuff, it might not even be you that's joined the blog network. It might be somebody that's trying to knock you down in the rankings. It might be somebody that's trying to knock you down in the rankings that's duplicating your content out there on the web. And this kind of negative SEO is something that people are out there trying to do. And so, one of the reasons why, it's white hat and all that stuff isn't necessarily about ethics. It's about self-defense. And in the same way, doing things like effective social media strategies, effective marketing strategies, link baiting and stuff like that, it's not just, quote, the white hat way to do it, but it's also something that can help prevent you from having to experience any of these weird bugs and emergent properties of this complex system that Google and the other search engines are running.
Yeah, and I think it's really kind of hard to tell from the outside, but for people to really understand why these things come about. But the web is a very complex place in terms of what the machine has to do with it. And so one of the things that happens when you look at these things where the URL gets screwed up in the search result, which is what Dan was just talking about, where it's the same page but the URL is wrong. Bear in mind that the URL is not actually carried through the entire search process. What happens is that spidering, they have the URL, and then replace it with some really big integer. The integer goes into the machine, and the crank turns 72,000 times, and out pops these integers, which then get converted back to URLs. And so we're finding these bugs that occur because of redirects, multiple levels of redirects, so 302s followed by 301s and that kind of thing. And what honestly happens is that Google loses track of what the right URL is. And so when they display the search result, they display the wrong one. And that's why we're referring to it here as a bug. And it may be Google's bug, but you're the one that gets hurt by it, and you fall prey to it when you have very low-quality pages or low-quality link structures, which give rise to these, trigger these kind of problems.
All right, guys. Well, as usual, we like to talk about this stuff, and we've burned through a lot of time. I think the big takeaway here is that duplicate content, as we've defined it here, and we are going to record this and release this eventually so you can go back and listen to what our definition of what duplicate content could be, is a serious problem, so serious that it could trigger the spam filters that have been set up by Google and cause your site to incur the wrath of the Google gods. So first thing I'd like to do is ask folks that are still with us if you wouldn't mind just using the question function. If it's okay with you if we run 10 to 15 minutes over because we want to be a little bit more thorough. So I've got my eyes on the questions right now. If you guys just want to let us know if it's okay so we can be thorough, and it says, yeah, sure. Okay. So we'll go a little bit long, but we do want to get this going. So let's go ahead and talk about this whole link profile thing that you guys were alluding to.
Well, I think we were sort of covering that to some extent there. I mean, Dan, I don't know how at 20 minutes in or 23 minutes in, maybe we should sum up what we were talking about there. Yeah, I think what we really want to do is just, aside from avoiding duplicate content, what you want to do is avoid, don't try and get into these too easy to be true link building schemes yourself, and do work on things like social media and marketing to build a real valid link profile. I mean, it's not just enough to create good content and hope that people will link to it, but that's a starting point. Then you have to market that content and drive people to it, make people aware of it so that you can build natural links. And that's sort of insulation against the kind of screwy, accidental, spammy kind of stuff that you can fall into. Although, that said, since you use the S word, maybe we should talk about how you could actually do that wrong. Let's do that. All right, yeah, so social media blunders. Oops, here we are, social media mistakes. And, the one thing here is, there are a lot of different approaches and a lot of people are doing different things with social media. And there's, I hesitate to even try to define what social media is because there are social bookmarking sites, there are social news sites, there are social interaction sites like Twitter and Facebook and MySpace. There are content sharing sites like YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Anything that sort of fits the profile of user-generated content as opposed to the content being created centrally by whoever runs the website is sort of the idea of what social media is. And what we see people doing all the time is getting automation tools or sometimes you buy a software package. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes you get some great course that tells you, well, just pound the heck out of Dig and Stumble Upon and Propeller and all these social bookmarking sites, and that's going to be the secret key to SEO success. First of all, most of the time those links have a no-follow condom wrapped around them, and secondly, those links are on web pages that might appear briefly, but those pages don't gather links themselves, and so those pages end up not getting indexed and not sticking around. So while massive bookmarking might cause you to get a search engine spider to come visit your page, it's not really going to do you a whole bunch of good in the long run. And the real thing is that none of these sites really want you doing that. They don't want you, if you've got a catalog of e-commerce products, they don't want you going in automatically bookmarking all of those pages with a robot, and they don't want you automatically resubmitting all of your blog posts every day. And they don't want you creating a bunch of fake accounts or banding together with the same small group of friends. And all these companies, all these websites have a strong incentive to try and detect and stop that kind of astroturfing activity. So what I would suggest instead, what we do with my link building classes and what we're doing in the SEO Brain Trust with people is trying to look at this from a different perspective, which is that social media represents a tremendous opportunity for you to gather an audience, for you to communicate with that audience, to drive people to your content. And when you do that, when you build an audience, then you have the ability to drive traffic, to get natural links, and if you really want to, once you've got a bunch of people that you're communicating with, you can actually send them to that Dig bookmark page for your article and say, hey, my new blog post is up, and send them to the Dig page, and actually have a bunch of people hit that Dig button when they get there, and that will be natural, and it won't be some small circle of friends that are just bookmarking each other's stuff, or some small circle of robots that you've created that are all coming in from proxy servers trying to game the social bookmarking system. And And what you'll find, of course, is there are a lot of people will show you that, yes, there are some links from the social bookmarking sites. And that's true, but it's not from direct linking from those sites. It's from spin-off because of those things appearing in RSS feeds and stuff like that. So there is an SEO spin-off. So, yes, you will find people show that, oh, well, Dan and Leslie are totally wrong. There's an SEO effect from the social bookmarking stuff. Yes, there is a small effect. Absolutely true. But it's a really bad use of resources, and what you should really be focusing on is the audience effect, not the SEO effect, which is very small.
Okay, so let's answer Andy's question about what do I do with all these RSS feeds, because I want to create the ultimate SEO news site, so I'm gathering up all the RSS feeds from all the other SEO sites, and I don't really want to do a whole bunch of extra work. And, I'm sorry, Dan, by the way, this also would account for some people's concerns about affiliate sites. A lot of folks create blogs or have websites where they're using the affiliate merchant's content or Amazon's content, right? And they're taking the product description of the camcorder, or they're taking parts of the email swipe file and they're putting it on their blog, kind of like the media kit assets that the merchant gives to its affiliates so that they don't have to work so hard to promote their stuff.
You get on all these things. We have more products in our house with vitamins and supplements and this and that. She'll take it for a little bit, then she's off it. This here, every day I see her take the products. I gotta say, I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed. Well, you've heard the story. You've heard from some of our leaders, and I'm not done yet. And now you say to yourself, what do I do now? What do I do now? There has to be a call to action. What do I do? What do I do? So I'm going to now refer to Douglas, Doug Abel, or is it who? Doug. To Doug. And Doug, I say to you, what do we do now?
Well, what do I do now, and what does this mean for me? What's this mean for me? At VM Direct and Obtain Response, it's business as usual. Everybody's been building up their pipelines with business prospects, and there's a lot of exciting things happening with that, and that's going to continue. So business as usual, continue to build your VM Direct business. We're offering you a new opportunity with these consumable products. So how this is going to work is we're going to, in essence, open up a holding tank. You can click on the banner up above. You can go to the banner of the links in the dashboard and access VMdirect.com, above, VMdirect.com/Kivana. And there's a page where you can basically say, I'm in, I want to participate in the Kivana opportunity, and we'll have you fill out some information there, which is like your name, your email address, and what your current VMdirect digital ID is, and that's just so we can identify you. And then we'll have you make 3 choices of what you'd like your ID to be in the Kivana system. So you can choose your current VM Direct ID or choose between 3 new ones. There might be some conflicts with ID, so that's why we're asking you to pick between 3. And then we'll ask you to pick what your initial order and shipment is for the Kivana system, along with what you want to put on auto ship for 1 month from the time you sign up and thereafter. And then we'll also ask you about what credit card you want to use and give you some options, and there's some instructions there. So we're going to have that open for 14 days. The advantages of doing that now for you are you get on the ground floor of this opportunity. We're going to waive the normal $45 startup fee for Kivana. And then we're also going to, within your VM Direct marketing, is equip you with some Kivana branded templates and some drip campaigns and some lead capture pages, and make this a turnkey system to really drive and build your Kivana system with the VM Direct and Obtain Response tools. So that's going to be open up for 2 weeks. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take everybody that wants to be in, and we're going to use the basic enrollment structure. We're going to keep the integrity of that as it is within VM Direct, move that over to the Kivana system, and then we have a little bit of challenges to work with our current 3-wide force matrix and move that into a binary structure. But we'll overcome those challenges. We'll work with everybody, and we'll build that binary so that we can maximize the comp plan for everybody. But most important points here are business as usual with VM Direct, and we're going to maintain the integrity of the enrollment structure from VM Direct. A couple other things. I got, like Richard, have notes so I won't forget anything. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to have a Kivana introduction call. And we'll put that number in the admin. I'll read it off for you here now if you want to jot that down. 712-432-7522. And then the PIN number is 438834#. Again, we'll post that in the admin center, and that'll just be everybody who wants to participate in that call. You can just get an introduction to Kivana and have a chance to answer questions and get some more information. And then, as we go forward, we'll keep you updated with postings in the dashboard in the admin center, and also with campaigns that give you all the information moving forward. So,
hey Roy, here's this vacuum caster. I'm just going to show you that this thing will. Hey Roy, I was just going to show you that this thing will draw a vacuum. You can see it's drawing the vacuum in that glass water. It's perfect. There's the gauge on it. So that's the vacuum side. Sticking my hand down in the vacuum.